Hi guys, today I wanted to talk about the best street photography focal lengths for someone like me, but I definitely want your opinion down below. If you go shoot street photography or cityscapes, what focal lengths do you like? This lens right now is really in the sweet spot for me. I'll talk about this in a second, but I find that a lot of people think you must shoot 35mm full frame equivalent or 50mm full frame equivalent for street photography. Of course, there are people who do every different focal length, but those two are definitely the most popular when it comes to street photography. And I have tried them. I do like 35, I do like 50, but I do tend to notice that I go wider and wider as the years go by. There's something about being immersed in a scene, being able to take a photograph and capture more of the scene. And since we're talking street photography, I figure I would bring out my Leica cameras. This is my M10P and this is my M11 monochrome. Shoots only in black and white and is easily the most expensive camera that I have, and I love it so much. And this lens right here is actually a 21mm, and that is pretty wide when it comes to a full frame field of view, and I do find that I really enjoy this for the street photography. If I'm on APS-C, sometimes I will use the Sony 11 or the Sigma 12 or even the Viltrox 13. I really enjoy a wide angle field of view on my APS-C cameras or my full frame. Now this one here is from Thypoch and it's actually a 1.4 lens. Now they gave me this lens so that I could play around with it, and then I figured since I'm talking about this stuff, I will highlight this lens in this video. It's a really great lens and it's an M mount lens, and if you can get your manual lenses in M mount, I would suggest you do so, because not only will they fit your fancy Leica cameras, you can adapt them to any of the other brands. You can get an adapter from M mount to pretty much anything. And these simera lenses here from Thypoch, they can actually cover a medium format sensor pretty much. So you can use this even with medium format cameras. Another thing I love about the wide angle photography is that a lot of people who are in the scene don't notice they are in the scene. They're often staring intently at me, wondering what I'm doing, looking at the camera. But since they are way off to the side, they think they are just staring at me anonymously while I point the camera at something else. Little do they realize they are part of my art and a part of permanent history. They are immortalized. You're welcome, but I will not share my Pulitzer Prize with you. A major advantage for me with the wide angle focal lengths is that with my M cameras, there is no autofocus. You must use manual focus, and these wider lenses give you that deeper depth of field and you have more in focus and you miss less shots when you are going super wide. Trying to nail focus on a manual 50mm, 75mm, or 90mm, that can be quite tricky, especially when you don't have an electronic viewfinder, which I don't have on either of these two cameras as well. So I do like the wide angle focal length because it helps out a guy like me. I really love this Thypoch 21 simera lens because not only does it look sexy as hell on my monochrome M11, but also it has the distance markings, which is great, just like a Leica lens, and you can also look at the aperture with these little red dots. You see at f1.4 here, the red dots tell you on your distance scale that you are in focus from about 2 feet to 2.5 feet. If you switch it over to f5.6, then the red dots tell you you're in focus from about half a foot to about 3 feet. And I think that is a really cool visual aid. The build quality on this lens is just immaculate. It's an all-metal lens, every part machined extremely well. It has a 62mm filter thread premium all-metal lens hood. Comes with a magnetic attachment on the front as well, so that when you're packing up your camera, you won't get any dust on your gorgeous lens on your gorgeous camera. It also has a plain metal lens cap if you don't want to use the lens hood. With this switch here, you can also switch the aperture to clicky or declicky. I personally love the clicks, especially on this lens. They are very satisfying. They sound great. They feel great. Listen to this. Ooh. The lens is sharp, the autofocus backgrounds are really pleasing, but it still does have a nice character. It's not a flat and sterile lens. It really does your Leica M system justice, and that is such great news because the Leica lenses, as wonderful as they are extremely expensive. So if you want to experiment with a bunch of different focal lengths, it's really hard to buy a boatload of Leica lenses unless you are Elon Musk. So the Thypoch lenses are exceptionally high quality, and they are a fraction of the price of the Leica lenses, which is great. Now you can have more room to get more lenses for your Leica cameras, and as I say, since they are M-mount lenses, you can adapt them to any of your cameras. So if you love shooting manual lenses like I do, the Thypoch are definitely a good way to go, and I appreciate them sending out this lens. Another great advantage of having a wide-angle lens attached to your camera is that if you want to do some landscape photography, or you want to get a whole city skyline, you're doing cityscapes but you want more of the city in there, then the wide-angle lenses will do you a whole lot better than a tight focal length. Now, of course, there's lots of times when I want a tight focal length, but I do find if I am out shooting my street photography, I come home with more shots that I like when I am using a focal length that's somewhere between a 16 and a 24mm full frame field of view. But that is just me. Please tell me down below what your experience is. What do you like to go out and shoot with? And then maybe I can get some of that focal length in here, and then we can have a nice little discussion about that as well. Thanks for watching this. We'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.